Siemaneczko, witam serdecznie wszystkich. Dobra, trzeba będzie sobie włączyć, zanim się to łączy 2 minuty minie oczywiście. Jeszcze będę musiał przejść na którą jutro mam zajęcie. Tara, tara, ta, ta. Kurde. Ja będę musiał włączyć Pac Mana. Gdzie ja to mam? Dziewiąta 45. Tara, tara, ta, ta. Ja pierdolę. Unity. A jeszcze muszę to ogarnąć. Kurde, zapomniałem o tym, żeby to ogarnąć. Cia la 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 la. A no wszystko działa, tylko że jest problem z tym speedem. Aha, już nie ma problemu, okej. Oj. Hmm. Dziewiąta 45 mam zajęcie. Fajnie chodzi, tylko to jest cicho, bo jest nagrane cicho akurat. Dobra, już mnie podpięli tutaj, widzę. pod jedne zajęcie. La 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 la. Tę. You receive password. Da, da, di, da. I kurwa nie nie przeciśnie. No fajnie to działa, jeszcze grafikę by trzeba jakoś tak ogarnąć i przede wszystkim powrót do idle. Nie wiem czemu. A, nadal jest, a dobra, nadal jest to 6%, 6 tych, 6 nadal jest to 6, tylko czemu tak to działa? Dobra, ja bym wroga sobie stworzył, wiecie? Pac Man enemy. Galutka niech będzie nawet z tego z internetu może. To on za duży nie był. To. Nie, nie, nie. To musi być tak. Tu, tu, tu. Jest przezroczyste. Rzutuj do urządzenia. Ja pierdolę. Już za pomocą. Do koloru. Znowu Pac Man jej. No w miarę działa, wiesz? Tylko, że jest taki problem, że ja tu zawsze mam 6, przez co nie może wejść do animacji idle. Ciągle jest movement. Nie wiem, czemu się tak dzieje. A ja będę musiał wyrzucić to i zrobić sobie nowe, samemu to zrobić. Nowy. Tylko, że ten Pac Man jaki? Kiedy port na Steama? No, w najbliższej przyszłości. Settings. Kurwa, nie chcę tego. Settings, ale ja chcę info. A, info trzeba. 64 na 64 jest, dobra. Czyli nigdy? Czemu, czyli nigdy? To ma być taki ludek. Okej. Teraz by trzeba go tak zrobić. Tak. Rysuj szluga. O, nie, nie, nie. Papierosy niszczą zdrowie. Hello, my friend. Mam takie oczy niebieskie. Jakoś to działa. Jakoś to wygląda. Buzie do rysu? Nie, on bez buzi jest. Chodziło mi o tego ludka tu, nie? Bo on tak samo wyglądał. So you are doing something creative. Yes, for once. I do something creative. Dobra, można to wziąć. I graphics. Jest the enemy. This is perfect. Yeah, my friend. Dobra, czyli rigid body trzeba mu dodać. Grawitację wyłączyć to. To jest... dajmy box collider. No, można go troszkę tak ograniczyć. No dobra. Teraz trzeba obejrzeć, jak tu się kurczę... Na razie zróbmy tak, żeby on chodził góra-dół.
Hey guys, more Blakey here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to simply move an AI character towards the target, usually the player. And we're going to add in some extra parameters to control when they can follow you and when they can't. So let's get started. So as you can see in this scene, I've got a main camera, I've got a player, I've got some background cubes, I've got a background, and I've got a square which is going to be our AI. Now in many games an AI can mean a companion, like Clank in Ratchet and Clank, or it can mean an enemy. And when you get close to that enemy, and that enemy can chase you. So this way of doing it is very simple, and I'm going to show you how to do it nice and quickly, and then maybe in another video I'm going to be showing you a different way that this can be done. So all we simply need to do is head over to our square, which is going to be our enemy, the red one here, and I'm just going to type in AI chase. You can type this whatever you want, this is just going to be the name of the script. Now as you can see we've got a fresh brand new script.
A jeszcze nie follow, kurde, jeszcze nie. Enemy Patrol, przepraszam bardzo.
Hey guys, more Blakey here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how we can make a simple 2D enemy patrol on a platform paired with animations and all the cool functionality you're looking for, as well as some cool editor functionality to make it easier to set up patrols. If you want the script from today's video, it is now available on my Patreon, along with many others from this channel, which you can find from the link in my description. Now, let's get started. So in this scene, as you can see, I have a very menacing enemy here, and this enemy includes an animator, a box collider 2D, and a rigid body 2D, which is set to dynamic, has collision detection set to continuous, an interpolator mode to interpolate, and importantly, we have a constraint set, which is our rotation. The two animations I have on this enemy is an idle animation and then an enemy run. Now in this video, we're just going to be using this run animation, but I also have this idle animation as a little bit of bonus info at the end. So what we want to do is create 2 points at either end of this platform and have our enemy run towards one end, reach the end, and then go to the other side, and just do this endlessly. And we want to have animations paired to this, and also have our enemy facing the way it should be. So the first thing we're going to do is create 2 points we want our enemy to be at. So I'm going to right click, create empty, and then just type in point A, and then just Control D to duplicate and do point B. I'm going to drag point B to here, point A to here, and for now that is that. Obviously these are a little bit hard to see like this. We can't actually see where they are. We're going to make this way easier. But for now let's focus on what we need to do to set up in the editor. So now we need to pull up an animator tab. So let's go to Window, Animation, Animator, and it will bring up this tab right here, and you can see my 2 enemy animations. And quite simply, you can just use one animation, a run animation if you want, and you can simply set your entry default state to your enemy run. I'm going to do it slightly different. So my default first, let's get some points. If you wanted to, you could have points where once our enemy reached a point, it could sit there equal to point b.transform, which at the moment is true because we set this to true in our start function. Then we're going to access the rigid body of our local scale variable. This might be a little bit confusing, maybe replay the last 30 seconds odd. The more times you hear it, it does make a little bit more sense. But this is not enough as we've made this function, but we're not calling it. This might be a little bit confusing, maybe replay the last 30 seconds odd. The more times you hear it, it does make a little bit more sense. But this is not enough as we've made this function, but we're not calling it anywhere. So just as we reach our point and the value is, now we have this from our is -1, and -1 times -1 is 1. So that means we're going to use this flip to multiply our scale and the x as 1 times from our transform local points at this point, and but this is not enough as we've made this function, but we're not calling it anywhere. So just as we reach our point and just before we switch the point, let's flip our character. Let's do that again here. So now I can press play in the editor, and you can see I have this absolutely glorious functionality of our very evil enemy running back and forth between 2 patrol points. So that is pretty much the end of the video. I did times and these from this variable, and then basically combine.
No okej. Ała. Tarara. Może tak, może nie tak. Going from right to left, okej. Create an account to read. O! O cholera. O cholera.
This is Blackthorn Pro.
Good. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
I'm Noah, and welcome to another AI tutorial with the Unity and C#. In previous episodes, we saw how to create a vicious, chasing enemy, as well as a more intelligent opponent, and then create a bunch of empty game objects, start wait time variable. That
Kurwa, dużo tego. Dobra, to trzeba będzie zrobić jak ten ziomek. Czyli create empty. Point A i point B. Gdzie to cholera jest? Jest. Teraz to. Dobra, niech będzie.
Yeah, so I'm going to right click, create empty, and then just type in point A, and then Control D to duplicate and public, game will change this, and finally, let's use anim.
Dobra, to przerzucę tutaj z boku i będziemy pisać. Ja będę musiał tak zrobić i dodać script enemy patrol. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Mhm. Czyli trzeba zrobić point A, o jest point A. To samo, tylko że point B. Digit. Adi. private or current.
Set ball, and we're going to set is running equal to true, and that's the boolean we made earlier, which is going to enable our running animation. So we're going to set this in the start function here, and then we can have that running. And this would just do the same functionality as it would if we just had one animation. But this means later down the line, if you wanted to, you could have points where once our enemy reached a point, it could sit there in an idle animation for 2 seconds before moving on. This is not going to be in this video, but I'm going to give you a brief explanation on how we could do that. And if this is something that you guys want to see, feel free to let me know in the comments. But now we've got this out of the way, let's go to our update function. And right off the bat, let's create a new point called vector2 point, and let's set
Respondy B bardziej.
dot position minus transform dot position. What this is going to do is give us a direction that our enemy wants to go towards, which is going to be in the direction of the current point. So now we're going to initially check if our current point is equal to point b.transform, which at the moment is true because we set this to true in our start function. Then we're going to access the rigid body of our enemy, more specifically the velocity, and we're going to set this to a new vector2, and for the x we're going to set this to a float we haven't made yet. We're going to set it to speed, and then for the y we can just set this to 0 as we don't want to move this enemy on the y. So let's go to the top, create a public float and call it speed. And then we can just do else. So what this is basically saying is if current point is not point B, which is point A or something else, then we set rb.velocity equal to new vector2, but this time it's going to be minus speed because we want it to go in the other direction. So in this case, because speed is a positive value, that means our enemy is going to be going right. So your point B needs to be the point on the right, and point A needs to be the point on the left, as long as you are fully aware of the direction your enemy is going in. So now back in our editor, let's go to our enemy here, and we have a few variables down here. I'm going to set the speed to 2, and then I'm going to drag in point A to our A slot and point B to our B slot. And now if we press play, our enemy should move to the right, which it does, but unfortunately it does not stop.
Velocity velocity new vector 2 speed 0.
Be going right. So your point B needs to be the point on the right.
Czemu tam po raz w drugą stronę? Może zróbmy tak, 0. Na odwrót po prostu. Bo tam było X, aha, drugie jest Y, dobra, czaję. Ok, ok, ok. Dobra, czy trzeba by teraz być inaczej to ogarnąć? Bo on nie wraca na ten. Idzie, ale nie wróci, dobra.
Let's go to our enemy here, and we have a few variables down here. I'm going to set the speed to 2, and then I'm going to drag in point A to our A slot and point B to our B slot. And now if we press play, our enemy should move to the right, which it does, but unfortunately it does not stop and will slowly float off screen, which is not quite what we want. but it is an improvement. So at the moment, this piece of code is completely redundant because we have no way of setting our current point to point A. That's what we're going to do next. So we're going to use a new if statement. We're going to check if vector2, we're using the distance function, and we're going to check for the distance between our enemy's position and the current point's position. So if the distance between these two variables is smaller than 0.5f and our current point is equal to point B. So we use this extra bit just to specify what point we're going to. So what this means is if our enemy has reached the current point and the current point is B, we're going to set the current point to be A. So current point is now equal to points A dot transform. So what this means is we can just use an empty game object and just add a little bit of distance so the player doesn't have to touch exactly the game object. It can touch a little radius around it. So we can be a little bit more fluid with where we put our patrol points, which for me just adds a little bit extra efficiency. And it means we don't need to have extra box colliders and things like that. So we've done this on one side, we need to do it on the other now. So I'm going to copy and paste this code and I'm just going to swap point B for point A here and then point A for point B. And now if I test this out...
O, czekaj.
We need to do it on the other now. So I'm going to copy and paste this code and I'm just going to swap point B for point A here and then point A for point B. And now if I
Powinno działać. Trzydzieści. Ja pierdolę, nienawidzę tego.
paste this code and I'm just going to swap point B for point A.
Nie wiem, czy mam błąd. Trzydzieści, 20. Dobra, teraz jest fajnie. Trzeba przełożyć teraz A i działa? Smutno, smutno.
Here and then point A for point B. And now if I test this out,
Smutno,
you can see it
smutno.
goes from one side and then we actually flip and go to the other. And now we will do this infinitely. So for some of you who don't want to flip your character or don't have animations or a sprite or anything like that, you may be done there, but hold on just 1 second. I've got one extra thing to show you that can really help speed up your workflow. So obviously we have these 2 points here, but they're very hard to visualize. And of course we could use icons up here. Again, I'm not a big fan. So let's go one step above and we're going to use something called gizmos. So let's create a new function. So I'm going to use that we have, and I'm also going to set the exact center of position. Point B dot transform dot form dot local scale. Let's do that again here. access our X
Kurde, nie działa mi to. Nie działa tak jak powinno.
axes from this variable and then basically combine the two. So now we have this local scale. Let's do local scale.x times and equal to -1. So we're multiplying our local scale by -1, and whatever the value is of this, we are setting as our x-axis. So finally, let's set transform
Da, 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 da.
local scale equal to our local scale variable. This might be a little bit confusing. Maybe replay the last 30 seconds. The more times you hear it, it does make a little bit more sense. But this is not enough, as we've made this function, but we're not calling it anywhere. So just as we reach our point, and just before we switch the point, let's flip our character. Let's do that again here. So now I can press play in the editor, and you can see I have this absolutely glorious functionality of our very evil enemy running back and forth between two patrol points. So that is pretty much the end of the video. I did want to quickly touch up on the fact that if you wanted
Jest problem. Wiem tak samo jak ona, kurczę, to nie działa za bardzo. Ta. Capcoder, okay.
Hey guys, what's going on? You excited to learn? This is going to be a very intuitive video, so strap your boots and let's get into it. But before we start the video, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit that 100 subscriber milestone. It would be much
Jest
appreciated
problema.
if you subscribe because
Unfortunately, there is a problem.
And before I show you how to do this,
Because
let me
it
show you
doesn't
a
work
demonstration of what it looks
as it has to. See? It goes to the top and that's all. Ty tylko skaži ja vše problem rešu.
looks like. We have an enemy patrolling on a platform, and every time it hits an edge or a wall, it just simply turns. And you can adjust his move speed down here. Let's get right into it. This is going to be a super cheap on performance and effective script on the enemy here. So all I have here right now is a blob jumping animation. If you want a tutorial on this, let me know. It is super duper simple. Making animations is just too easy. Making this literally took me like 2 minutes. And on my enemy right now, I have a sprite renderer component, and I have
There's a
an
problem, just tell me
animation
and I will solve all the
So
problems,
the
bro.
first thing that we're going to need is a rigid body 2D. I'm just going to put the body type to kinematic, which means it is not affected by gravity. Now I'm going to add a box collider 2D right here, and I'm going to press edit
I
collider.
already told you about my problem.
And let me just show you how I'm going to set up this collider here. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit, and I'm going to drag the offset on the Y a little bit down. This is going to be our ground detection, and I'm also going to push it out a little bit. There you go. This is going to detect an edge or a wall. And the next super important thing we need to do for the box collider is set is trigger to true, because this isn't going to collide with anything. It's going to be a trigger. Now I'm just going to make a new script for this, and I'm going to call it enemy behavior. You could call it whatever you want. This is what I'm going to call it. And let's go ahead and open that up by double tapping it. Alright, so I'm just going to clean up these comments. And we are going to be using start and update, but I'm just going to kick it off with some variables. We only need serialized field in the start function. So, what is a mathf.sign? Well guys, you should get the second value. Transform transform dot local scale dot y. Now in station code, this function is going to form syntax math key need for this. So or this is where we're going to shove in our inspector. Oh, this is supposed to be 0, my bad. And now all we have to do is copy and paste right here and just say minus our move speed, which will make us move left. And guys, I'm not kidding you, that's literally it. Normally you would see to
Nie no, będzie trzeba spróbować tego. O, pod karetką? Jaką kurde karetką? O, stream element wrócił. Wow! Stream elementco. Box. Dobra, teraz void up, date. Teraz równa się new. Minus speed. A nie no, po co mi to? Nie, to jest dobra, to... Kropka Y. On trigger exit. For. Powinno chyba zadziałać, zobaczymy. No i przesuwam go, ale on...
Tutorials showing you a script that is like twice as long, but since we're using this math F stuff, it is just super effective. And usually on YouTube you would see something like a bull is facing right, but and changes mood. So now it automatically sets
In this video, we are going to create an enemy that patrols a path, and if we drive towards it, it will stop and start shooting at us. And if we drive away from its detection range, it will start patrolling again and rotate accordingly to context, so by our behavior, which defines the action, which list of transforms, the size of our lister, paint up. We will
Kurde, no to jest zbyt skomplikowane, no, ja pierdolę.
So we've got damage dealing monsters that we can Goomba Stomp patrol to. So this will set him to. And if you wanted to, you could have more than one patrol point. Add one last thing, which is rid of our start function to see which of the patrol. So in brackets here, we're going to start with the current position, nations, and we're just going to move that down one line. So after he reaches patrol destination 0, before he turns around, we're going to type in transform.local scale. Need to keep that scale to the channel. Forth really nicely when he. I'm going to want to change the on and 1. However, if I want him to go in the opposite direction, I'm going to want to change the x to a -1. Alright, so you'll notice now that he flips back and forth.
Hey guys.
Nie mam
Welcome
pojęcia.
back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how we can make a simple
Witam, będę musiał nadrobić twoje kodzenie, bo widzę, że się na poważnie wziąłem. No wziąłem się na poważnie, ale to nic nie działa. Znaczy, no coś tam działa, ale no... No patrz. Sam widzisz, nie? Co się dzieje. O, on się porusza i powinien góra, dół, nie?
control system in both
Witaj w świecie programistów, no.
points from one to another, and we'll loop through these points forever. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and let's get started. Apologies if I sound a little bit different. I'm a little bit ill at the moment, so I'll have a bit of
To działa, ale nie wiem czemu, to nie działa, ale nie wiem czemu.
camera, a directional light, a simple ground object.
No i tak samo mam w ogóle z tym. Już ci pokażę. O. Ciągle mam 6, nie wiem czemu, chociaż on się w ogóle nie porusza. Nie wiem co się dzieje. Wszystko mi fajnie działa w miarę.
And then I have a little enemy, and this enemy is simply a sphere with a sphere collider.
Kompletnie nie wiem co robisz.
The first thing we need to do is create.
Jakby ci to kurde wytłumaczyć. Nie wiem, bo ty znasz się na Unity może? Ogólnie jest taki problem, że ja tutaj mam... O, mam zmienne, nie? Te parametry. Zmienna speed ma 6 właśnie. I nie wiem dlaczego z automatu to ma 6, a powinno być 0. Ale ona... Zobacz, że włącza mi to od razu ma 6 z automatu. Nie wiem dlaczego. Odwrócę to. Ja to w ogóle się nie będzie zmieniało. Dodaj jakiś warunek, że jak dotkniesz ściany, to zmień speed na 0. Ja to będę musiał wrzucić do jakiegoś Discorda, wiesz? Niestety muszę kończyć, ale życzę powodzenia. No, dzięki wielkie. Ja to wrzucę gdzieś na Discorda z Unity i po prostu to się ogarnie. Myślę, że ktoś mi tam pomoże.
These points are going to be points in the map for our enemy to patrol through, and when it gets to the M1, we want it to go all the way back to our first one. So what I'm going to do is right click in the hierarchy, go to 3D object and then sphere, and I'm just going to call this waypoint. I'm going to zero this out on all axes, and then I'm just going to drag this out a little bit like that. And you can see this is my gamer screen right here, so that can be our first point. I'm then going to grab this and copy and paste it and then drag it over here. Then this can be our second point. And then I'm going to copy and paste it one more time and just towards the first waypoint. So finally, now it's looking for a float, which is going to be our speed. So
Pierdolę. A czekajcie, na Udemy? Sprawdzę na Udemy, jak to wygląda. Co jest pierwszą grę? No dobra. Ruszanie się bohatera. No to już mamy. Szkody i nagrody. Resetowanie bohatera nie chcę.
Musimy wyposażyć go w komponent kolizyjny. Niech to będzie po prostu Box Collider 2D. Ten obiekt właśnie. I przeciągam ten obiekt.
To nie jest to.
Poustawiamy.
Bo on wroga w ogóle nie postawił. Może to?
Welcome back. Alright, so in this video, we're going to start to code our enemies. So we want them minimum speed and a max passing, min speed and max speed. Okay, so let me explain to you that being 0, frame rate independent. That is the beauty. Nicely. Think just like I did, otherwise it will not work. So now this function, like I said, will get blank is written in Unity. Right on top of the point detecting the collision. Perfect. Next video and this. Let's test if the collision detection works correctly inside of Unity. Let us place the hazard right on top of the player, and if the detection works correct inside of the so we are making inside of the and if you'll see that the hazard will move down, and if you look inside of the console. Welcome back. So in the previous video we created some game art for the player character and hazards. In this tutorial we're going to take a look.
Jezu, co ja klikam? No to też nie ma na tym. Ja pierdolę.
Welcome to this game development course.
Creating enemies. Tu też nie ma za bardzo, no kurwa.
itself true or false depending on, and he's also going to move to the wall and turn. Cool. Now you could also Go inside the enemy and change his move speed to something like 3.
A, może tak to ma zadziałać. Wyjebało go w kosmos. Okej. Czemu? Why is fucking that? Czekajcie, czemu jest tylko raz, dwa. A nie, to tak, dobra. What? A shit. Ojejko. Hmm. A, czekajcie. A teraz? Coś trzeba będzie zmienić z tymi box colliderami. I z tym tłem. Dajmy troszkę wyżej. No i tak się pierdoli. A i tak mu zmienia ten, fajnie. Tylko czemu? Dajmy. Nie mam pojęcia. Ta. Czemu on nie działa tak jak powinien?
If if you want them to go super fast. Normally you would see tutorials see something like a bowl where we are moving. So that is very efficient. And you know what? I don't even think I needed to cache our box collider. But let's just see if it works. So if we hit play, he's going to move up and turn. And he's also going to move to the wall and turn. Cool. Now you could also go inside the enemy and change his move speed to something like 3 if you want him to go super fast. I'm going to jump back into my script, and like I said, I realized we don't even need a box collider, so now it's even more simple. Thank you.
Ale czemu ty się tak dziwnie odbijasz? Kurde no. No to fajnie działa. Nie wiem czemu to tak działa, kurde. Dobra, ja to będę musiał ogarnąć off stream. I to chyba będzie na tyle ode mnie. No. To żeśmy sobie ogarnęli. Trzeba będzie tą szybkość ogarnąć na Discordzie i to odbijanie się. Bo jeszcze bym musiał dodać. Tu jest ruch. On collision. No i będę musiał to zrobić. To jest tylko przerzucenie tego, ok. Cztery, 6. Czy taga będę musiał zmienić? Ja pierdolę. Dobra, już nie mam siły na to wszystko, trzeba będzie ogarnąć, to tamto, to trzeba będzie wrócić. Dobra, no już coś mamy. Szybkość tutaj i tego ludka trzeba ogarnąć. Dobra, to będzie tyle ode mnie. Trzymajcie się wszyscy. Na razie.